Buzz Hitachi ducked into a rundown asteroid bar on a whim one afternoon. There was only one customer. The bartender eventually brought whatever mysterious stuff was on tap. It tasted like the guck that leaks out of old batteries, so it was probably Neptune Narragansett. She didn't glance at him. She was purple and translucent, beautiful as an eclipse, but you could begin to see her age. She probably worked hard, who doesn't? But anybody could see her life was about to wind up in a trash can with a bunch of dead USB chargers. Buzz thought about chargers way too much. He knew his huge white head and oversized body always gave him away, so he just stayed still, giving her time to get used to his bulk. As the afternoon slunk forward, her silence eventually grew softer. He broke it quietly to ask her name. "Virginia," she spoke flatly to her drink. It's harder than you'd think to be an artificially intelligent personal space vibrator. You spend most of your time waiting, bored, in a drawer running around an artificial computer environment. And when you do get outside that drawer, you just go inside, where your weather is always terrible. Buzz had been brought into this ugly space world already out of date. His plastic hard from the start, dragging his unfortunate power cord behind him. He was left over from a prudish Earth, too old and too big to even do what he was meant to do. Buzz also knew he had no business hanging around a nice Bluetooth bunny vibe like this. She might be older, but she had the right shape. There was not a hard point on her anywhere. She charged wirelessly, could connect to the main navigation system to send your ship into a spin that matched your orgasm. And she had a bottom that could twist 360 degrees. It had been long enough to speak again, but as he took a breath, Virginia shot out, "I'm worried." It wasn't every bunny vibe who would just start talking about her feelings to a low-class back massager. So Buzz shut the hell up and waited. "I think I'm about to be thrown out," she sighed a long sigh. "I belong to a medical officer who's been divorced for 5 years now." A pause, another smaller sigh. "I feel like I'm getting replaced by Ben and Jupiter Jerry's." Buzz shifted uncomfortably and drained his drink. Got another and drained that one too. Still, he reasoned, a bunny could bring him places he could never get on his own. Lying forgotten in the workbench of a boiler room populated by penumbra and armadillos, the thought of lounging all day on soft space socks or silk solar panties, it made him rock back on his stool a little. He hoped it looked like he was just tipsy. They sat a long time, barely speaking, but they left the bar together. Her place was nanite clean, solstice warm. He could tell that she liked to be exact, right on the pulse even. And for someone like Buzz, someone who'd weighed 1.2 pounds and thus was way too expensive to ever be rendered in Milky Way chocolate for a gag gift at a space bachelor party, it was wonderful. Buzz just never happened to go back home after that night. 5 days later, out of nowhere, at 1 a.m, the medical officer opened their drawer. Buzz had guessed easily that the medical officer would be a middle-aged white Earth woman, but never that she'd be so forceful. Buzz went to work, the medical officer went to fucking town, and they both let Virginia take the night off. When Buzz got back, Virginia didn't even give him a look. Not one word of judgment. It happened again immediately the next morning. He felt like shit, and he realized that he probably loved Virginia. It took months before it occurred to Buzz that he could murder the medical officer. Virginia hardly said anything. Occasionally she went to work with him, which he utterly hated. He hated seeing her in that position. Even though she was gorgeous when she was dripping wet from head to toe, he hated it. He hated when eventually he had to use the Uranus attachments. They were like very near assholes. But Virginia never said anything. Maybe one time, once, when they were lying next to each other, she'd said, "I'm always so tired." Once he thought of it, he knew he had to kill the medical officer. and he knew how. He never told her how it would go down. She didn't deserve that. He just let her lay, her sweetly giving, see-through plastic against his hard shell, and let her rest. He let her know that she was safe, and he let his power cord fray just a little at a time. When it finally happened, it was horrific, but about what they both expected. A ship Roomba finally dragged the blackened, electrocuted meat of the medical officer. She was dead, of course, literally zapped from the inside out like a cosmic over-microwaved Hot Pocket. Off of Buzz, also dead. It wasn't until the highly specialized biomass cleaning robot came around that Buzz was finally unplugged and put in a trash bag. Virginia watched it all coolly. She had only one thought. Am I free? Can I really be free? And for a time, she was. Buzz's death had given her the one thing she'd always wanted. Until about a week later, when a new medical crew came by one morning and opened the drawer. Ugh! Was the exclamation as the strange hand of a 17-year-old cosmonaut intern reached in, grabbed her, and dumped her in the garbage, which instantly shot her outside the ship. She knew no one would ever recharge her again, and Virginia thought, maybe death is the only real freedom there is.